Welcome to Deep Drive, our weekly automotive podcast powered by Kotak Mahindra Prime. Before we go any further, let me wish all of you a happy 2026. And this being our first podcast of the year, we've decided to do a bike podcast where we talk about the highs and lows of 2025 and also what we expect to see in 2026. I'm Rishaad Mody, this is Ketan Thakkar, and we're going to start off with what is Ketan's favorite topic, and that's numbers, because the numbers never lie.
Absolutely, Rishaad. I think numbers tell you the story that market eventually sees in form of trends. And it was a fascinating year. Indian two-wheeler market is yet to go back to its pre-COVID level highs. But in terms of volumes, the estimates are that the Indian two-wheeler market would have crossed 20 million two-wheeler sales milestone after several years now.
2019, I think.
Yes. So a 20 million mark is likely to be crossed. The absolute numbers will come in the coming days. The market has grown by about 7-8%. It's a tale of two halves. At the beginning of the year, the market growth was slowing, and the fear was that it may actually slip into negative territory. Then we saw GST 2.0, a much needed booster shot for the market. We saw significant price correction, especially at the entry end. And we've seen the 100cc market actually coming back. So that has really helped in, I would say, reviving the motorcycle growth because motorcycle growth was slipping into negative territory. It is estimated that motorcycle market will grow about 2 to 4%. Scooter have been the outperformer. Scooter sales are estimated to have grown by about 7-8%. And electric two-wheelers, Rishaad, two interesting highlights there. The estimates were that penetration may move up to 7 to 8% and a market of about 1.5 million. Unfortunately, because of rare earth supply chain crisis and the GST cut, some prospective buyers have moved back to ICE models. So what that has meant is that the penetration level has slipped a bit. It is expected to be somewhere around 6.2, 6.3. And the volumes we are talking about 1.3 million. So it has been a tale of two halves. First half was a difficult one, and then we've started seeing the momentum. And with the decent monsoon, rural offtake, marriage season being good, we're talking about a financial year which is going to grow well. So I think the momentum, the much needed momentum for the Indian two-wheeler market that was needed, it's got it. And now it's about going to the next stage with new age models.
Sure. I mean, GST is, I think, easily the most important thing that happened to the industry, the most relevant thing that happened to the industry last year. And there are various ramifications to GST. In one case, how EVs kind of suffered because of it. In another case, how we all thought that Royal Enfield would be hit hard. And of course, they have been hit harder when it comes to 350cc plus. They're one of the few manufacturers who've said that we will not change our engines.
Yeah.
KTM and Bajaj are hard at work right now, re-engineering, downsizing. By about April of 26, we are going to see 350cc engines across the board, whether it's in KTMs and Triumphs, in the Dominar, in the Pulsar. What used to be the NS400 will probably be the NS350 now. So yeah, GST has had a big effect, largely very good in some areas, especially with premium motorcycles. We've talked about this. What else? I think another point is how the Hero and Honda situation has played out.
Very critical point. In fact, one of the highlights of the year. At the beginning of the calendar year, the gap was merely about 150, 200,000 units between the two. The Splendor has got a tremendous sale after the GST cut. And, after a long time, we've seen Splendor, we had seen significant price increase post BS6. And all of a sudden now, Splendor was in the reach of many of the prospective buyers. So Splendor volumes have gone up. And from Jan to November, Rishaad, the gap between Hero and Honda on the retail front, excluding Telangana because they are not there on Vahan portal, the gap was almost 600,000 units. And it is believed that at the end of the calendar year, the gap is likely to be about 500,000 units. Why? Because Hero has lean inventory at this point in time, which is a surprise, and Honda is filled to brim at this point in time. So there's
it's usually the other way around.
Usually the other way around, and it's a surprise. So I do expect Hero to continue to hold on to its lead, and that GST 2.0 has been a critical shot in the arm for Hero MotoCorp. And the other critical element of the GST 2.0 is the fact that Royal Enfield, for the first time, Rishaad, out and out is going to sell 1 million two-wheelers in India. One expected that the biggest impact of GST 2.0 will be on Royal Enfield, but surprise, surprise, they had their record numbers in the festive season of October, November, and on its own, just domestic sales, Royal Enfield will be handsomely doing over 1 million units. And it's because of growth of Royal Enfield that we've seen the motorcycle growth also coming back. So I think what it has done is the GST 2.0 has improved the sentiment. And much like the car market, which Ian Hormuz discussed, the vehicle makers have also sweetened the offer beyond the GST price cut benefit. So that has ensured that the momentum in the marketplace is there. And it remains to be seen whether this momentum continues in the next calendar year. Because what GST has done is it has reduced the burden of acquiring a vehicle, but the per capita income, that remains to be seen. We've seen GDP numbers to be promising on the higher side. So one is hoping that the wheels of the economy will move and the disposable income will be distributed across the country, and that will lead to consumption and hence buying in the two-wheeler space as well. So I think it has been an interesting year, a year of two halves, and at both ends of the market. Hero made a strong comeback, and even Royal Enfield made a strong comeback.
Yeah, it's funny almost. I was just sitting and thinking, less than a year ago, you and I sat in these same chairs and talked about how Honda was about to catch Hero.
Yes.
And then a dynamic changes.
Absolutely.
A dynamic we didn't know was going to change and plays out in such a different way. And now it looks like Hero is consolidating again. Part of it also not so significant, but Hero had an insignificant play in scooters, and that is growing.
Yes.
EVs they've actually been building up this year. They're not big numbers, but they're meaningful.
Yes.
In the way that Honda has just had nothing happen with EV this year. Their two offerings have done nothing for them.
Rishaad, absolutely right. I think the scooter story is a disappointing story of Honda in the calendar year 2025. If you were to just purely look at numbers, electric vehicles, I think it's been a non-starter so far. We've discussed about pricing before, and volumes have barely moved. On the contrary, Hero MotoCorp on the electric two-wheeler front has now become the fifth largest two-wheeler manufacturer.
Yeah, they passed Ola recently in the last few months, at least not over the year, but the last few months.
So they've been meaningfully doing about 8% market share, which is a very healthy number. It has grown from 3.5% last calendar, which is 2024 to 2025. So there is a growth in market share. And also on the internal combustion engine front, we've seen Hero's market share move up about 250 basis points, whereas Honda has faced heat from Suzuki, from TVS, yes. And at least from January to November, the Vahan retail numbers showed that Honda scooter market share actually slipped below 40%. Now, it's going to be challenging because the rest of the market is flanking their portfolio with more premium scooters. Honda also has a ADV 160 around the corner, but clearly Activa...
That's not a volume product.
Yes, but yeah. Activa's facing the heat.
Yes.
Activa's facing the heat, and in the past we've often compared a scooter with a motorcycle, comparing Activa with Splendor. So it's been a unique year wherein Splendor has really done well and Activa has faced the heat. So Honda's faced challenge, but Honda's trying to make a comeback in the motorcycle space.
Shine is doing well.
Yes, Shine is doing well, and I think the Hornet 125 was a pleasant surprise that we saw at the beginning of the year. So it'll be interesting to see as to what kind of momentum Honda carries forward in 2026. But Honda is also facing the heat, and the gap is now yawning. In fact, there was a declaration by the global management that number one in India is almost in its reach. But clearly, Hero is not going to cede its position that easily. It remains to be seen because Hero's premium portfolio has always been weak and market is moving up. So probably this movement towards 100cc may be an aberration or a temporary phenomenon. Eventually, the premiumization trend continues. We've seen Bajaj, TVS, even Honda, we've seen action in the 125cc space and above. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this Hero versus Honda race plays out.
Yeah. When it comes to Hero and premium, I mean, certain things have been delayed. We're expecting to see the X-Pulse Dakar now next year. It was supposed to be this year. The 250 play has been minimal. We haven't even ridden the Extreme 250 properly for a test. They haven't let us the bike. It's very slow. Their big X-Pulse, the 400, delayed again. Will we see it in 2026? It's not clear.
Yeah.
And if they're having issues with it, I'd rather they take their time than put out a flawed product. Honda is working on a few things. We've talked about this before. I think locally assembled or localized Rebel 300.
Yes.
Which will be this, sort of cruisery 300cc thing going up against very established motorcycles, the ADV 160. Let's talk about the other number 3 player in the country who's had a fabulous year, TVS.
Oh man, I mean, they've been on a dream run, Rishaad. It has been a sustained outperformance by TVS Motor Company in the several last few years. The fastest growing brand in the market. I think they're likely to end the calendar year with 20% market share, which is sizable. And surprise, surprise, in the internal combustion engine space, Bajaj Auto, at least from Jan to November, what I saw, it had slipped wee bit below 10%. So, I mean, that's a cause of concern. But Bajaj, of course, has done well in the electric scooter space. But TVS, it has been an all-round show. The new Jupiter really helped TVS to grow its scooter market share. Apache has made a great comeback. Ronin volumes have doubled in the last several quarters. So the premium play, which is the entry premium, which is from 150cc to about 220, Apache is doing phenomenally well. And plus, of course, the much awaited Norton launch is around the corner. So I think it has been a dream run for TVS, and how can I forget, they become the number 1 electric two-wheeler manufacturer in 2025. So, Abhi, it's been a phenomenal run by TVS, and what is heartening is that they have been able to create strong products across category, a rarity in the Indian market because every brand have their own specific strength. But TVS is one brand that has been able to carve a niche for itself across categories, and so it has been an out and out outperformer. And Rishaad, you were in Norton's headquarters. You were there at EICMA where the brand was unveiled. How do you see the new age Norton from TVS perspective?
I mean, just before that, to continue what you said about a standout product in so many categories. There's the N-Torq, there's the iQube. The new RTX is such an impressive motorcycle at such a disruptive price point. It's going to do good things for the adventure bike segment. I know the deliveries have been slow of late, but TVS promises us that by mid-Jan, it's going to ramp up and people will be getting their bikes. It's just fabulous. Norton, I think, is a curious case because I don't think people have realized just yet how exciting Norton is. Yeah, there's a V4 superbike, 20 lakh rupee odd motorcycle, okay, and there's a big adventure motorcycle, but people haven't really latched on to the idea that that adventure bike is going to be made in India, entirely at Hosur. TVS is not trying to just make this expensive premium thing. They're going to want to hit the market, and I am really looking forward to what that bike is going to be and how much it's going to cost. I think they're going to be very aggressive with the pricing. It's still will probably be a little more than the Royal Enfield 650s, 750s, but not that much more because they can't afford to do that.
Right.
So we're looking at this motorcycle that's going to offer you 60 to 70 horsepower, big bike looks, style, wonderful features, made in India, and nobody in the country is giving you that yet. So it's going to open horizons for TVS in another segment of the market, not just in India, but worldwide. So I am very excited about the Norton Atlas, which is what the adventure bike is called, and we should be riding it by about mid-year, maybe in the second quarter of calendar year 2026. I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, I think very exciting.
Now, lovely, when you try and reimagine a retro and a halo brand in a new avatar, it's always very challenging. And there appears to be a lot more optimism at EICMA, at least, with regards to how the new age Nortons were seen. So it's going to be interesting. I think second half of this year, the brand hits the Indian roads, if not the Q2 of calendar year. And it's going to be a completely different setup, a new experience TVS wants to give to the Norton buyers. So it's going to be an exciting place. And but I still have my I won't say doubts, but it's not going to be easy. Yeah. We've seen globally renowned brands like Triumph and Harley wanting to crack into the mid-size market, while the top of the line 4-cylinder 1200cc is something wherein you want to make a statement, but the real action is going to be in the core of the market, which is going to be the mid-size motorcycle space. That's a space that I'm very keenly watching out for, probably not in 2026, but maybe 2027. And that will be a biggest moment of reckoning from a TVS Motor perspective, because if TVS is able to crack that, then it'll be very hard for one to stop TVS, and which is knocking not only at the podium of the Indian two-wheeler market, but the global two-wheeler market as well. So I think the biggest outperformer of 2025, it has to be TVS Motor Company, Rishaad.
And moving on from that, perhaps the not underperformer, but less exciting performer was Bajaj.
Yes, I think probably it was a year of correction. And plus, when you are spread out so much, not only in terms of product portfolio locally, but also globally, you have a play happening from, CNG motorcycle to performance motorcycle to KTM to
and they had their hands tied with the whole KTM
absolutely
debacle this year as well.
That's a big deal. It's a massive milestone. I think if they get it right, it's going to be one of the highlight of the Indian automotive industry in the recent decades. So I think, yes, out in the market, it has been rather challenging. Their mass market play has been rather muted. They enjoy about 5 to 6% market share, which is where majority of the action was. But the company has been reiterating this fact that the growth of future is going to come from 125cc and above. And with the reimagined Pulsar, I think the story is going to be different. You have more details there.
No, we just broke that story very recently, and that's what this year is going to be for them, because it's all about the Pulsar. Like Rajiv Bajaj himself said, 2026 is the year of the Pulsar, and it's a massive moment for them. This is their classic 350 moment, what it was for Royal Enfield in 2021, reimagining. It is Bajaj's moment for the Pulsar, because to date, the classic Pulsars, which is the old school Pulsars, are still the best-selling Pulsars.
Interesting.
They have tried twice now. Once with the NS, way back 2013, and then with the N models to come up with successors, and both times it didn't work out. You could view that as a failure, but I view it as them having pulled in a new set of customers. For example, the N models do really well for them overseas.
Right.
They're important for them overseas. The NS brought in a new customer. So I wouldn't say they're failures, but they could not replace those motorcycles. While I was writing that article, it dawned on me that the design has not changed in 20 years.
Interesting.
2005, I think, was when the Wolf Eye look, or 2006 was when the Wolf Eye headlight look came out. And that is the same look to today on the 125 Pulsar and the 150, apart from the tank extensions. Which means that this customer just wants what it wants.
Right.
And now, third time around, Bajaj surely knows this.
Right.
So I believe that this new generation model is going to be a new gen bike. It's not just going to be a sticker job and an update. That's what they've already put out now. They just released a new 150 and a 220 with LEDs and all that. It's a stopgap thing. The new bikes are coming. They will have new chassis. They will have, I think, largely new engines as well. There'll be changes there because these are going to be stressed member engines of the chassis. So it's going to be different. Refinement is going to take a big step forward. Rideability, handling is all going to take a big step forward. And those feel like old motorcycles. But that was never what the Pulsar customer was after. The Pulsar customer wants a bike that instantly looks like a Pulsar. I think it needs to sound like a Pulsar to some extent. And it needs to feel like a Pulsar when you're sitting on it. They need to have that, that big tank. And so I'm sure Bajaj knows what they need to do. And I'm really looking forward to what these new Pulsars are going to be. They're not going to be game-changing, technology-shaking motorcycles. They need to be Pulsars, but they need to get it right. And I hope that they will. I think they will.
And it will also be complemented by a new range of KTMs and Triumphs as well, is it?
Oh, yeah. That, like I said earlier, there's a bunch of them coming out. They're all going to be 349 point something cc under the 350cc. On the one hand, it sounds like it's going to destroy the bike, but it's 20 odd cc down from the 373cc engine in the Dominant, the Pulsar, and about 50cc down. So where I would assume we're looking at a difference of 2 to 4 horsepower less. It's a loss, but maybe it makes the engines more exciting. Maybe Bajaj is going to try and chase as little of a power drop as possible, which means you get more of an aggressive top end, which could be great in a KTM.
Fantastic.
And maybe in the Triumphs, the tune would be a little more mellow, and I'm keen to see what they have to offer. I don't think the bikes are destroyed, and I think it's going to help bring the prices down.
Yes,
which is crucial. A 390 adventure with the spoke wheels is 4 lakh rupees ex-showroom, and at that point,
that's steep.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
in a market like ours when you want to break in, and when TVS is giving an Apache RTX for 1.99,
That's insane,
they've got to do something. And so I don't fault Bajaj for doing this. There will be a 500 twin cylinder coming probably in 2027.
Interesting.
So then you have a clean step from a single 350 to a twin 500.
Right.
So it all plays out nicely in the long run. But there's going to be a lot of motorcycles for me to ride in the next few months, and I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just curious, Rajiv has always mentioned that the Bajaj brand does not extend itself beyond a certain cubic capacity or size. Do you expect the twin cylinder to be a Bajaj brand?
I think this is going to be a fluid thing. How is this new generation of Pulsar accepted?
Yeah.
And do they believe that 500 can find its way, or will they use that 500 in a different application in perhaps the next gen Dominar?
Yeah.
And keep that, or maybe even create a new premium brand like what the Dominar is intended to be. I'm not sure, but I think that they realize that Pulsar is honest, down to earth motorcycling and not high end, high performance, high premium sort of motorcycling.
Right. So Dominar has been a stop go brand in that sense, and they really need something more exciting.
They need something.
So probably
a big revamp.
Yeah, probably a new brand in the offing from Bajaj.
I wonder, maybe Dominar continues because it has gained its momentum as this
own equity in the market.
Yeah, touring sort of thing. So we'll see what Bajaj is up to.
Yeah, interesting. And how can I forget the electric vehicle space? Chetak was number one for a brief while. Bajaj was impacted because of the rare earth crisis. Bajaj is the second largest electric two-wheeler manufacturer in 2025 with a market share of over 21%. And that is another interesting story in the Indian electric two-wheeler space. If I could just do a segue into EV market again, Rishaad. For the first time ever, the legacy players now accounted for over 53% of Indian electric two-wheeler space. That share was 39% in 2024. Rishaad, Ola has been on a sustained fall. The volumes have halved and
sustained and consistent.
And I don't know what is going to stop it. Ather has had a very, very healthy year, and Ather has in fact climbed to become the third largest electric two-wheeler manufacturer in the country. So the legacy players have taken charge in the electric two-wheeler space. The startups which were leading the way, one of them has done a phenomenal job on the back of credible quality, reliability, and brand performance. And the other has fallen by the wayside because of the quality issues, service issues, and it's on a free fall right now. The multiple attempts being made by Ola to stem that slide, but it has been a difficult journey for Ola. So I think that's yet another highlight of 2025. From
Ola is definitely a highlight of 2025. I think it's a great lesson for business students as everywhere. There's a simple saying, as you sow, so shall you reap.
Yeah.
The aggression, the arrogance, the rushing products into the market, it can only take you so far.
Yeah.
Eventually, the customer's eyes are opened to the reality of the situation. Today, if you just go through social media, it's full of these images of these dusty showrooms and service centers full of dumped bikes and thousands and thousands of complaints about service. And once it's out there, you're not stopping that.
True.
There was plenty of opportunity to correct costs, to fix quality issues, to prove that you're trying to do something here. And I don't think I ever saw that happen. I think the customer has seen that as well. There are two things to me that can either go well for Ola or go very badly for them. One is their own in-house cell that is slowly making its way into the vehicles, and one is their rare earth 3 motor that is also slowly making its way into. Perhaps they can give them some sort of a business leverage and cost effectiveness and things like that, or perhaps they can go really wrong.
Yeah.
This year, I think, is going to give us that answer, but for Ola to recover is going to take a lot more than they're doing right now. And launching things like hyper service, where you say, okay, now you can buy whatever parts you want from us and get your scooter fixed yourself. I don't see that as any form of customer trust building or damaging the repairing the damage that has happened.
I think automotive companies track this net promoter score, wherein they try and find out as to how many of the existing owners are promoting the brand and how many of them are detractors. They may not they may dissuade the others from buying the brand. So I think, they're facing tremendous headwind when it comes to brand salience in the marketplace. The experience has been subpar, dismal, so to say, and it's going to be an uphill climb. They launched the motorcycle on 15th of August. Really don't know what's really happening with them. Barely any volumes there. They're pushing them in the
I haven't
market.
seen any.
Yeah, they're pushing them in the market. So I think it's going to be an uphill climb for Ola. I'm sorry I segued you into the electric vehicle space.
No,
The idea was
it's
to...
the perfect way direction to go in.
Yeah. So Bajaj did a good job. If we could go back to the brands in the Indian two-wheeler market. Moving on from Bajaj, we move to Royal Enfield.
No, let's stick with EVs for now, because we talked about the downside of, when we say that the startups held 50% of the market, it was actually Ola that held most of that.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing another startup starting to build its momentum, and that's Ather. And I think last year was great for them, and we've got a lot more to look forward to in 26.
Absolutely, Rishaad. I think Ather's market share till the end of November was about 15.5%. Just a tad above, just a tad below Ola, but I think the December numbers are yet to be out. It's likely that Ather will end the year as number 3, and that growth has been from 10%, 11% market share to almost 16% market share, whereas Ola's market share has slipped from 37% to 16%. So it has been a phenomenal slide, and it has been an incredible show by Ather this year. And when they went for an IPO, I was really skeptical. And at least talking from financial and business operations perspective, I could never really understand the need to have another manufacturing facility announcement when the existing plant was underutilized. But clearly, there was that conviction that they'll be able to build on scale. A large part of that effort was on building the brand, building the dealerships, building the awareness around the brand, and volumes have taken off. They've grown by over 60-70% this year, and it has been an incredible rise, both with regards to prospective buyer and also with regards to the stock market and the shareholders. They've really reaped dividends by owning an Ather share. And again, another case study for B School graduates to look at how a startup company can become a credible player in a market which is dominated by giants. So it has been an incredible story of Ather, and really proud to see the evolution of the brand. And we're going to see something more exciting in 2026.
Yeah, definitely. The EL platform is, for me, perhaps the biggest step for them yet, because the current platform is an expensive one. It's this aluminum chassis, and it's complicated, and in terms of servicing and things like that. And Athers do have a reputation of being a little more expensive to service than the competition. And the EL promises to fix all of that. It's going to be an easier platform for them to manufacture. It's going to cut down on service times. It's going to cut down on number of parts itself within the chassis. So they're taking all their learnings, they're taking their excellence in terms of software, they're taking their proven motor and battery pack performance, and then they're putting it in this scalable thing called the EL, which is going to come out as a family scooter first. And for me, that's where, the real climb starts with that.
The big differentiator is engineering, Rishaad, isn't it? I mean, when you give due importance to the fundamentals of engineering in designing and developing product, I think eventually the product will find resonance in the marketplace. And when we try to hurry way too much into the market and be aggressive and arrogant about it, we see what happens to brands. So I think these are amazing classic case studies of how to be part of a highly intensely competitive automotive market, and how not to do business
side by side.
Yeah. It's an amazing case study.
Yeah. So that's the EV segment. By and large, VIDA's done well this year. They're growing. The VX2 particularly has done well for them, and for good reason. I think it's a perfectly nice family scooter. It rides well. It's got a good price. There's flexible buying options. So that should continue to grow for Hero as well. So I think we'll see them doing better and better in the EV space. River has gained a little momentum in more than a little momentum. I think they've gained good momentum in 2025. That will continue for them and the Yamaha connection as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's an exciting proposition. Very seldom do you see a Japanese company, laying faith on our startup to produce a model for them. And whatever we've heard and understood so far, that River has done an incredible job. And even the feedbacks that were given by Yamaha during the engineering and development stage, River took it amazingly well, and they've delivered a product that impressed Yamaha. So much so that Yamaha is going to be exporting them around the world. The electric scooters made out of River's factory is not only going to be sold in India, but it is going to be exported around the world. That talks about.
You don't get better praise than that.
Yeah,
that's a giant like Yamaha recognizing you like that.
That's phenomenal, and that shows that while there are certain startups who are fly-by-night operators and opportunistic and running behind valuation and too zealous behind multiple business opportunities, there are startups out there who are sticking to the core of design, engineering, development, and really proving themselves in terms of product, in terms of design, in terms of validation, and in also with the consumer. So I think River has also been a very interesting story. And what I understand, Rishaad, is that going ahead, River is likely to do multiple more iterations for Yamaha in the future. And it's interesting to see that Yamaha to have two different family of electric scooters, one through River, which is going to be a lot more affordable, accessible according to Yamaha pricing standards, and the other one is going to be more premium, what Yamaha like to call performance scooters, and that's the Aerox Semi family.
Yeah. On the topic of impressive startups, we should also mention Ultraviolette.
Yes.
X47 was their bike of 2025, and more than just being the nicest version of the F77 platform so far, you must appreciate the technologies they brought out in terms of blind spot warning systems and the radar-based guidance.
ADAS.
First time in the world at this price point. They're showing you that they're working on pushing the frontiers of technology, and it kind of works. I mean, even though it blinks a lot like all these cars nowadays do, it's still good information for you to have. If you're in a situation where you're just unsure, is there someone behind me? I need to make a split-second decision. You have that assistance there, and I appreciate that. 2026 is big for Ultraviolette because now they're going to have to prove themselves beyond this low volume niche enthusiast oriented thing. Next year will be the Shockwave electric dirt bike, which is I think going to be less of a priority and less important.
Yeah.
And the Tesseract scooter, which is
I'm
going to
quite
be
excited
big
about
for them.
that. Yeah, I'm quite excited.
We're all excited about it.
I was shocked to see that.
Yeah.
And with the ambition that they have, I'm really looking forward to it. And interestingly, TVS Motor Company has stake in Ultraviolette. So clearly, one can expect TVS to invest in a company which gives a lot more credence to engineering capabilities and design and development. And a lot many aerospace engineers out there working for Ultraviolette, wanting to deliver that precision in engineering. And they've taken their time. They've been assured with regards to the steps that they take. But they've reiterated time and again that volume game is what they are looking at. Yeah. And I'm quite excited to look at 2026.
And I think they've done it the right way. It's not just another scooter. It's this freaky looking thing that's unique. Yeah. Unique to Ultraviolette, full of technology, just got the right amount of performance. It's going to stand out on the road, and they're promising a very aggressive price. We'll see how that pans out as time goes forward, especially after the launch and how long they can keep that price. But I'm glad they're doing things differently. Yeah. And I think the real challenge for them is not to make the scooter work, but to make the scooter in big numbers.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because they have never dealt with big manufacturing. Absolutely. They're probably working on scaling up right now. So there may be some teething issues, as there are with most people who come out into this space. Yeah. But Tesseract looks exciting.
Absolutely. And in fact, when I interviewed the top management, both Neeraj and Narayan, last year, and my big question to them was, it's okay to operate at a certain scale. How do you, beyond a certain point, you are actually going to be fighting with big boys? And there is that sense of realization within, and they appear to be more prepared to take on the big boys. And they're focusing on their niche. Yeah. And I like the focus that they have. They're not overextending themselves. They are pretty clear about where these models will work, both in India and overseas. And it appears to be a nice calibrated attempt. I'm really excited for Ultraviolette Ultraviolette to see their evolution because products look exciting, consumers are excited, and there's a lot of sound fundamental engineering work that has gone behind these electric two-wheelers, and their intention is to be a global player, and it's going to be a test of character, I must say. So really curious to see the evolution of Ultraviolette.
Yeah, the engineering is without doubt. I mean, earlier last year, I literally sat on a motorcycle that they made and nearly did 260 kilometers an hour, which is by far the fastest of any
Insane.
Indian-made automobile. So they know how to do stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. Should we go back to Yamaha since we talked a bit about EVs? Yamahas?
Yes, interesting year from a Yamaha perspective. Rishaad, you tell me, you were there at Yamaha's 15 November conference. They did launch a new brand. They did give a feeler into what to expect in 2026. What do you make of Yamaha's evolution?
I find it disappointing.
Yeah.
Look at the Royal Enfield Hunter 350. 2022, I think, is when it came out. Look at what it went on to become. It took Yamaha 3 years to see what that bike was doing to then decide that we are finally ready for the XSR 155. Had the XSR come in 3 years ago, it went on sale internationally in 2019.
Oh.
So it's been around. It's been around on a platform that is manufactured in India since 2010 or 2009.
Yeah.
There was no reason they couldn't bring it except for the fact that they just didn't want to for whatever internal reasons. Perhaps they wanted to encourage the MT-15, but that bike should have been here sooner, and had it been here sooner, I think it would have had a bigger impact. I just recently rode it. I still think it's a wonderful motorcycle, and there is something unique about a lightweight motorcycle that is quick and fun to ride, but can also be superbly fuel efficient. There are very few bikes in the market that can do that. And this stands above the other 150cc, 160cc bikes made in India because it does feel more special with its technology and the chassis and things like that. And it stands apart from the more powerful motorcycles that are priced similarly to it because it's more fuel efficient than they are.
Interesting.
And it has a Yamaha badge. And I mean, yes, there is some value to a well-engineered Japanese motorcycle. Maybe it's a meme on the internet, but yes, Japanese motorcycles generally tend to be really well engineered and they generally tend to be very reliable for you to own, which is a nice thing to have. It should have been here earlier. The EVs, I get the sense that they're not super into the EV space in terms of volumes. It's more of a technology showcase that here's what we can do. We're there when we need to be. The Aerox E, I think, is going to be really expensive. They weren't sharing anything about it, but I feel like it's going to be significantly more than the Aerox, which is about a 1.5, 1.6 lakh rupee scooter. So it doesn't seem to be very viable from a market point of view, at least the Aerox E. I get the sense that they just don't have any plans for big bikes in India after years of we will, we won't, we will, we won't. We don't see any of that action at all. Honda's doing a fabulous job. Kawasaki has done a great job for a long time with big bikes in India. But Yamaha just won't commit to the market. And we now have a new leader of the company. He's a young, dynamic leader. I'm hoping to see something more exciting in that direction. But I feel like Yamaha is one of those players that over the last decade and a half, at least that I've been covering this industry, has so much more potential in our market than what they're actually using.
Well, I can see the pain and anguish that you have for the Yamaha brand. It's telling. But interestingly, Rishaad, when I was trying to understand from the friends in the industry, several key things that came out.
Yeah.
Shidara-san, the earlier president...
Two generations back.
Two generations back. I mean, say about half a decade back, just before COVID. He was the president or chairman of Indian operation. He's gone on to become the global head. And his belief on India and the Indian market now is gradually beginning to find footing in the global strategy. The new chairman that you spoke of, the youngest chairman, studied in Harvard, can speak fluent English. Communication has always been challenged with Yamaha. But the guy has gone around the world. He was a chief strategy officer. So clearly, he was part of the long-term strategy planning for Yamaha. And the sense I'm getting is now they feel that India's time has come because for them, Indonesia is filled to brim. The matured markets can only do so much for them. And the direction that they're taking, and sometimes we as enthusiasts or business reporters, we get exasperated with the volume game and profitability game. But the sense is that they don't want to run behind volumes, but they want to definitely go behind exciting bikes. What I've learned, Rishaad, is that in 2026, the new base is going to be the 200cc R200, likely to be R200.
They recently trademarked the name R2.
Yes, R200. Now, what they want to do is they want to design and develop that motorcycle out of India, and it is going to be manufactured out of the Chennai factory, and it is likely to be exported around the world. So that is a very credible proof as to where Yamaha wants to move. Apart from that, what I also understand is that they want to spruce up the scooter portfolio with probably more premium scooters, maybe another 150 or 160cc from the global portfolio that they may bring in. They are exploring Lander 250,
which is the dual sport motorcycle.
Now again, like we've discussed before, in Yamaha's world
as well.
In Yamaha's world, exploration does take time, but speed and agility is something that probably we may see some kind of a change at Yamaha. So Lander 250 is being explored for India. And interestingly, there is a cruiser or an adventure bike being explored on the 300 to 450cc platform.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So Yamaha wants to do more. So what I see changing is that probably a lot more action in the core of the mid-size motorcycle, which is 200 to 450cc space with multiple body styles, more premium scooters, and rely on CBUs if need be, and on electrification, rely on River to look at volumes and also bring in their own electric vehicles. So unlike the Indian brands and the other global brands, Yamaha operate at its own speed. And that is where we get exasperated or we feel they're way too slow. Hopefully, just like how you said, maybe it's a case of der hai durust hai with XSR. They got it right, and hopefully they'll be able to get the volumes.
I think they will.
They'll be able to get the volumes in the future. I think they've addressed the pricing part with XSR. In the past, we always question what's wrong with Yamaha. Why are they pricing their models so at such a premium? So I think they've got the facet of getting the right pricing, local design development, design in India, export from India, manufacture in India. So I think they're also kind of getting their act right. They're realizing where Honda is moving. They're realizing the pace at which the Indian brands are evolving, and I think it is going to make headlines eventually if they were to cede their number 3 global position. So I think the company operates at its own speed, and I absolutely get the exasperation at your end. Fingers crossed. Hopefully they've got the house in order. And with Shitara-san there steering the show, one also hears that Chihana-san, the earlier chairman, he's going to play a bigger role in the future. Otani-san, the outgoing chairman, actually played an interesting role in correcting the price of MT300,
Absolutely.
MT3 and
the other 3 and the MT03.
Yeah. So clearly they're realizing that you got to get the pricing right for India. You got to leverage India as a manufacturing base, and you got to export and design, develop, and export out of India. So I think I'm hoping a little bit too much on Yamaha, but it'll be nice to see good motorcycles and scooters coming from here.
I know I sound hard on Yamaha, but it's been far too long.
Yeah.
But you're also right that there are promising signs.
Yeah.
Like at the recent launch in Mumbai, they had something about 10 models coming and something that they had a number of bikes that they promised are going to come in the next year or two. How much of this is variants and all, we don't really know. So yes, there's stuff to look forward to. They just need to be a little more
proactive. A little bit more proactive.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on to Royal Enfield. I mean, that's a company that I'm always excited about. Rishaad, I think a phenomenal year, in a year where there was hardly anything happening from the brand's perspective, and yet they're likely to do more than 1 million. 2026 is again going to be a year of bombardment from Royal Enfield, isn't it? Anything that you have?
Well, the EVs will come.
Yes.
And they're not going to be instant mass hits. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be fairly expensive products. But they look really interesting. Strategically,
it is going to be a critical, a new pillar coming from Royal Enfield. And I'm excited about the R platform, the 750cc. There's the 750 Himalayan, the GT 750. I think those two are going to be critical from a Royal Enfield perspective. They're stretching the...
from a global perspective.
Yeah, they're stretching the boundary on the cubic capacity, and I'm also very curious to see the evolution of 250, which is happening internally.
Right.
They are working overtime to ensure that they get the.
But I don't think we'll see 250 next year.
Not in 2026,
Yeah.
but a lot of core design development work is likely to be frozen in 2026. From a consumer standpoint, it's still about 18 to 24 months away.
Yeah.
But I think Royal Enfield is really flanking itself. What was phenomenal for me after the GST 2.0 was how quickly the Classic and Bullet came back. Classic and Bullet were actually struggling in 2024, and Royal Enfield was bringing in motorcycle after motorcycle to build volumes, but unfortunately it was not able to. We saw the mojo is back. Record volumes in the month of October, easily doing 1 million. Classic is back, Bullet is back, and I think the company is entering 2026 with a lot more confidence, and I think it's going to be exciting to see the 750 and the electric. Electric, I'm still very skeptical. It's a very unique concept. It's so much different from what the core characteristic of Royal Enfield is. It is a little too outlandish, in my opinion, very polarizing.
But it's going to be expensive.
It's going to be expensive as well. So it's going to be interesting. I think a critical year from a EV and a top-end bike from Royal Enfield perspective.
All I can add right now on Royal Enfield is one thing I love about them is how chill the management is and how you can sit down and have a beer with them and talk for a long time. At Motoverse this year, we had a bit of a roundtable discussion. A few journalists sitting with Sidlal and BGR, B. Govindarajan.
The CEO.
And we were just talking, the CEO. We were just talking, and I had this question that, years ago you said you're going to do 250 to 750. We are now at the point where you have reached the upper and lower ends of that.
Okay.
We know the 250 is in the works. We know the 750 is coming out.
Yeah.
What's next? Are you going to look lower than 250 or are you going to look beyond 750? And the answer was very interesting. And they said, no, we're still going to stick with this because we believe that above 750, you get into a very premium, very competitive space with the world's best manufacturers. Is not a space you wanted to get into and fight with so many decades of expertise.
That's so amazing to hear.
Below 250, we know it. It's a massive market, but it's a messy place and it's low margin and it's
cutthroat.
A fight. It's cutthroat. That's the term. So we don't want to do either. But we're going to leverage electric to be our way to get into the commuting space. So we won't make a sub 250cc motorcycle, but we'll use our EV to get us into that space over time.
That's interesting.
Electric doesn't just have to be flying flea.
Yeah.
They said electric is electric. So when the time comes for a Royal Enfield electric bike, whatever it may be, we'll make one.
Interesting.
Everyone keeps talking about Himalayan electric launch coming soon. It's not going to launch soon. They're very clear it's a test bed platform. They're developing it. If they launch it, it may be 3 years later or something like that. It's going to be too expensive if they launch it right now. But they're working on the technology, and when they need to be ready with it, they'll be ready with it. And I think that's real forward thinking.
What amazes me every single time I see the top management is they're so self-assured. I mean, definitely with 85% share, you've got to be.
Yeah.
But they're not resting on their laurels. It's phenomenal to see how much of hustle that there is there in that organization and how many new bikes that are under works. And that to me shows that, this is one company so passionately involved in the company and so much of importance to brand, to the characteristic of motorcycling, to quality, to globalization. I mean, really an impressive company, really heartening to see they finally cracking into that 1 million mark. And if they get the 250cc right, I mean, probably they'll take the brand.
What is the limit? I mean, it's fascinating to think about it.
Sky is the limit. So really excited about Royal Enfield as well, Rishaad. So it's a phenomenal year, but there's so much to look forward to in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've covered the top companies.
We can discuss Suzuki. Okay. That's an interesting company. I think one was waiting for the Japanese EVs to hit the roads. We've seen that Honda has been it's been a stop-start approach. Yamaha has showcased their products, but pricing is going to be critical. I think the promising E-Axis, I think that's going to be another...
mysteriously delayed.
Yes. Yeah.
Shown, we rode it, test rides, everything, and then no launch.
Yeah.
Maybe they saw what was happening with Honda and took that as a cue. Maybe it's a manufacturing.
Maybe it's also got to with the supply side challenges.
Right.
I just hope that all these electric two-wheeler manufacturers get their supply side sorted, because we are so heavily dependent on imports from China, from cells to rare earths. One interesting thing about Ultraviolette is that they've diversified their supply base, be it rare earth or be it batteries. So that shows that, it's a startup which is nimble, and I just hope rest of the car or rest of the two-wheeler manufacturers have got their back end sorted, because that's going to be challenging. So I hope that the supply chain issues sorted, and some quality niggles, if they were there any, that e-axis will be an interesting product to look at. And I hear from Suzuki's perspective, there is a plan of coming out with all new Gixxer, just like how we've
been
seen.
long enough.
We're going to see a new age Pulsar. We see a massive change in Apache, and hopefully, with Gixxer, because that is the only motorcycle in the Suzuki portfolio that is meaningful. So, and also there is this, Suzuki is dabbling with the idea of doing different concepts of electric two-wheelers. So I'm hearing a cross two-wheeler, which is a sort of a cross between a scooter and a motorcycle, something like a Navi, is being explored at Suzuki. So I think...
but that could be some time away.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting, and I forgot to make this point earlier. Honda is not also sitting still. Honda realizes that the initial few lots of scooters that it came out with on the electric front did not catch the fancy of the buyer. So there is a new scooter under works, which is going to be a lot more localized, and hopefully by when that scooter is ready, they would have got the learnings of e-Activa. And hopefully a serious Honda electric scooter will come on the horizon, because Honda has made its intent clear that they want to use India as an export hub for electric two-wheelers. So hopefully there is a more localized Honda electric two-wheeler made in India again for the international market. So it's so nice to keep reiterating that fact that everyone wants to use India as an export hub, and which means what? Which means we get global quality products for the Indian consumer at a price that they can afford, and it is shipped around the world. So I think it's a coming of age of Indian two-wheeler market. Indian brands doing phenomenally globally, and global brands using India as an export hub. So it's a great time to be in the Indian two-wheeler market.
So 2026 sounds exciting.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Hey, Rishaad, looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting.
All right. I think that's a good tone for us to wrap it up. You can catch the Deep Drive podcast every week. We go live at Saturday, 11 a.m. And if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you can also check it out on Spotify and Apple Music.